and welcome to another episode of Coffee with SamPaul. We're here in Salisbury right now at the general store at the Heart Cafe, and I have a very special guest with me today, V from
Mingle Co.
Mingle Co, a place that works with neurodiverse people, giving support and so forth, but I'll let V explain a little bit better because I just stuffed that right up. So tell me a little bit about what you do, V.
So I run social events. Well, I first started with the social events at night for the neurodivergent community to connect and form friendships.
Mm-hmm.
So our events are sensory friendly, and we make lots of accommodations because we get a lot of people that are that need those accommodations, like they need to have more breaks, or they come in very socially anxious. So we just provide a very quiet space for them to come in and connect.
That's really fantastic. My son's got a stepbrother who's neurodiverse, and I remember going food shopping and so forth could be quite a handful because all the lights and the loud sounds and stuff. So
overload,
yeah, exactly. So it's really great to see people like yourself doing work, to make that a bit better, sort of quality of surviving and living and whatnot. So how long have you been operating this?
So it's just been over a year, and now we recently started running events for women. It's called Neurodivergent Women in Business.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, so we do workshops. Most of the time it's run by neurodivergent women. So it's more understanding place. We also get a lot of women that are late diagnosed. A lot of women are getting diagnosed late because of the children now and because of the data that's out there.
Yep.
So these workshops are sensory friendly as well, and I've kind of timed it long enough for them to, learn something about themselves or about their, neurodivergence, and then, it's something that they can learn, take home and apply, and also they get a chance to connect with other neurodivergent women.
Yep.
Or it's also open for women that work in that space as well, like service providers, psychologists, counsellors, so they can understand them better as well. And it also provides a sense of belonging as well. You really want people to connect. Some people go in there not knowing how to network. So we go in, we do it in a very organic way, so it just happens naturally.
That's awesome, yeah. You mentioned before about more women being diagnosed as being neurodivergent. I was led to believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of that came down to the way they presented symptoms-wise, like they'd been using the boy kind of symptoms. Profile, that's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, the profile, and they've become aware that girls and women present differently, and therefore they're able to diagnose it a lot more for women as well.
Yeah, so it's called masking. It's called women or little girls will learn how to mask these things because they're like, oh, it's not acceptable.
Yep.
But for a boy, he could be the naughty boy. And if he'll fit the certain profile. For girls, they pick up these cues easier, so then they sort of mask their whole life until they get to their children, and then their children are diagnosed. That's how they're getting diagnosed now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, the same thing with me. My children have been diagnosed with ADHD, and then you're like, oh, it's a bit similar. For me, it was more like research. I'm self-diagnosed at this moment.
Yeah.
It was all the research I did before I started this, because I've worked in the disability community for like 21 years.
21 years, wow.
That doesn't mean I know everything.
No, of course not. No, but
yeah, because the spectrum is so just wide. Everyone is so different. You cannot put one autistic person next to another and say they're both the same. Everyone is so
absolutely
different. Yeah, so just by doing a lot of research and reading the books and about women, how they have masked for so long.
Yeah.
So just picking up on those things, and now like at this stage in my life, I've kind of accepted who I am. It's like, well, I just tell people to make those accommodations. So like, for example, at our events, if we don't put any fluorescent lights at the night events, we don't put any flashing lights either. It's just a warm ambience, and they're the ones that are more. The focus is on them. Everyone that goes is the focus on them.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned how you're self-diagnosed, but live to learn to live with it and deal with it yourself. Because I've been told by a few people that have got kids that are neurodivergent that they believe that I could possibly be. I grew up in a time when they didn't look for a diagnosis. They just said, like what you mentioned before, like naughty kid, naughty boy. And I'm quite happy to accept that may or may not be the case for me. I'm kind of a bit like your way of thinking. If it is the case, then I've learned to deal in my own way and handle it in my own way. Whereas I've got a mate who's only a few years younger than me, but he actually got great comfort from going down the diagnosis path and being diagnosed, and feels a great deal of comfort from knowing. Giving answers, I suppose, to explain things that didn't make sense to him before. Do you find that sort of way of thinking with people you work with?
Not everyone. Everyone. We had back-to-back events last week, and we met. We do event for the women. We do events in Prospect, Pallet Cove, and now we're doing some in Gawler as well, just to connect women from those spaces, areas. But on the last one, we got late diagnosed women, and they were going through that grieving process where they were just accepting that's what they had. It's usually they think, well, I wish I could have known this earlier, because maybe my life would have been different.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of, it's very exhausting to mask all day. A lot of people suffer with depression because they just feel like they don't fit anywhere. So there's, depression, there's drug abuse, suicide.
Yep.
So we can go into other stuff, but sometimes it's comforting for some people to know this is what I have. They grieve and then they move on, and then they want to find They want to find, I was the quirky kid, I was the odd kid, I belong in this space. So I think I really love when, organising events, sometimes it's can be a little bit stressful, but once I'm there, I love the atmosphere and what
of course.
It's not me, they put all the effort. And then with the social events, we run the events for different ages as well, because some people have found out that they have autism and ADHD at a late stage. So we're doing events for the older, like 50 plus, 40 plus, because everyone wants to meet people their age as well.
Oh, of course, yeah, definitely. And I can understand that just because two people are both neurodiverse in nature, that one may be 18, one may be 40, that they're not going to necessarily want to connect just because they're both neurodivergent. And obviously, like you said, want to be around their peers. So what would someone expect if they were to come along to one of your events? Like what kind of thing do you like? I mean, I've been to other kind of networking and like sort of, dare I say, single type parties where they have activities that are designed to connect people and encourage conversations and so forth. Is that the sort of thing you guys do, or is it a little bit more a different focus?
We do a little bit different. It just because people that are neurodivergent don't like the small talk. We don't like sometimes. We want to. If I meet you, I want to know everything about you, because that's how we'll connect. So we like real connections. So the format that we do, the networking events for the neurodivergent women in business. Those events we do, the format is a 30-minute workshop, and then we have stories, so we get two panellists, two neurodivergent women, to talk about their journey as an entrepreneur or as an advocate or whatever that they're doing. We ask them about 3 or 5 questions, so people that are hearing them can connect. And then the people that attend, we ask them why they came here today. So that already opens up, they start to open up and be a bit vulnerable why they came here today, and that's already connected already.
Yeah.
So once we finish that, they already had organically started that connection. They'll go back to that person and say, I'm a late diagnosed too. They'll have something in common already. So then it just flows really naturally. And then with the friendship events at night, this is done because I had to think, how do I make it for everyone to meet? How do I make it? So I thought of the format of the speed dating event. Okay, so it's like a speed dating event, but you get to meet everyone, not just the the opposite sex. It's everyone gets to meet, because it's about friendship.
That's good.
Women tend to be a bit more reserved to come to these events, so sometimes we'll have to reschedule the event to get enough numbers.
Yeah.
But we also do events for the LGBTQIA community, so we try and do everyone, because that's what social inclusion is.
Inclusive, exactly, And if someone watching today thought, hey, I'd love to go check one of these events out, do you have like a Facebook page or a website? Or
So they can go to our website, which is www.mingleco.com.au, and you can find us on Instagram. If you go to our website, we'll take you to all the social media pages, or Eventbrite, Mingle Co Eventbrite. You can see the upcoming events. We recently gained, we were recipients of a grant from the Burnside Council. It was a $27,000 grant.
Oh wow!
So we were really lucky. We'll be doing more events in the Burnside Council, and they'll be cheaper as well. People come along.
Okay, that's very cool.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I've only ever done that one time. I had a guest on that actually wanted to chat, ask me all the questions as opposed to the other way around. That was a long time ago. So by all means, it's a conversation.
So, what do you like most about doing these podcast interviews? What's the highlight for you?
I think the highlight for me is a combination of meeting people that maybe I wouldn't have met just normally, because a lot of my guests come through referrals. Like I had a friend that said, hey, I've got this guy, he's a comedian, would you like to have him on? So I was like, yeah, cool. So I may not have met him through my normal life circles, but also the educational aspect. I've had such a vast array of guests on the show that I get to learn a lot about all different things. I've had hypnotherapists, I've had comedians, I've had a dental technician, I've had a lot of people from the wellness space as well. And so every guest brings something new to the table. Even if I had two, say, hypnotherapists on there, I learn different things from each of them because they have different experiences. They come from a different space for their knowledge and passion and so forth. And same with yourself. Like I've had some experience myself raising a stepson who is neurodivergent, and so that was my experience. But hearing you talk from your perspective obviously brings a new thing to the table that maybe I didn't think of before, or wasn't aware of before. And so it's just about learning myself, but also then sharing that with other people, like putting it out there on YouTube, and then having people go, oh wow, that's really cool. I had a really wonderful woman early on in the podcast, Nicole. She runs, her business is called Kids Coach, and she basically works with kids that, parents that need support with their kids, and that was quite an eye-opener as well, because there was so much stuff. Like we can all learn, as a parent myself, I know we can always learn more about how to better parent. It would be that, definitely the education, the knowledge sharing, and building a community too. Like I actually run occasionally events myself, where I basically arrange a day and a time and pick a cafe that's sort of fairly central, and invite as many people that want to come along as they want, and they all come along. We all have coffee in common, so there's that familiarity, that connection, and we just basically like sit around, we network. Some of us are small business owners, so we can share about that, or just about ourselves personally, and it just kind of helps build a community centered around this podcast.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's amazing to
thank you.
meet other people and connecting, because you're also connecting them and creating that community.
Exactly, and if there's one thing that I've learned, particularly through the course of the pandemic, is how important connection is, and not just like, we're friends on Facebook so we're connected, but actual sitting down face-to-face conversation, real connection, and actually really bonding in an organic and authentic way. It's all well and good to have 4 million friends on your Facebook, but if you don't talk to them, and more importantly don't actually talk to them in person, then there's a lot of value lost, I think. It's great to be able to share people like yourself, your story and what you do, because growing, as I said, raising the stepson, it was very hard for him on a social level. I think in the whole primary school years, he only got one invite to a birthday party, which
that's very sad.
You know, and you can't force kids to invite other kids. Like it's just not the right thing to do. But at the same time, he deserves to get to go to birthday parties and have to come to his.
Experience that.
Yeah, exactly. So
I think as well with the events, we get a lot of people for the social friendship events. We get a lot of people that haven't had those social opportunities. So that's where I sometimes get a bit, or sometimes they're not doing well mentally. Like they're very depressed because they haven't had those, the human contact.
Yeah.
So sometimes I find that very hard to go. I want to put everyone in.
Yeah.
But sometimes you can't. Like, because logistically I need to have the numbers.
Yeah, of course.
And so I wish there was more social opportunities for people with disabilities or the neurodivergent community. But there's a lot more to do as well.
Absolutely.
And, it's also about representation. Like in the website, all the photos that are there, they're real people. They're real people that went to events, and that's so. The community can understand that that's what someone with autism ADHD looks like. Because sometimes, people hear a lot that, you don't look autistic, you don't look this. And that is so frustrating to someone that has autism. Yeah. Because it's like, well, how am I meant to look?
Yeah, exactly.
So just being represented in their own unique way is very important.
Absolutely, and I think that goes for any kind of inclusion. Like you always get these people that go, "Oh, well, you don't look that, or you don't look this," and like that all comes down to education, though, and what you're doing with your business and your events is educating people as well. You're sharing the fact that it doesn't always look like we assume that we, and it doesn't have to be some weird, scary thing. It can actually be a really beautiful and organic connection process, and I think that's really important. Sorry, my phone started ringing. And so I completely understand where you're coming from, saying we need more events and more opportunities like this, but at the end of the day, it starts with someone doing it, and you're doing it, and that's going to help those that go to the events, but also help give other people the courage to go, hey, that's a good idea, we need more of that, I'm going to do my own version of that now as well. And that can only be a good thing. It's like
absolutely, there's no competition.
Exactly. I come from a very mental health kind of space. I remember having a guest on in Melbourne, and I called him a mental health advocate, and he didn't really consider himself one because he's not always actively going about advocating for it, but he talks about it from his own perspective. But I do consider myself an advocate because I go out of my way to speak on it through the podcast, through my music and all sorts of things. And one thing I've noticed as well is, like you said, there's not always enough out there, but by putting yourself out there and sharing your story, you encourage others to do the same. So I can only applaud you and admire what you're doing, and I'm really grateful that you reached out to come on the show, because the more people that are aware, because we judge when we don't understand things, and so the more we can educate and help people understand and help people kind of just get through life as best as they can, it's only going to be a good thing. It's, it reeks of positivity, and I love that. So congratulations to you for the great work you're doing. I really hope it continues to prosper and grow. And thank you so much for taking time to come and have a chat on Coffee with SamPaul. I really appreciate it. And for recommending this amazing cafe. If you don't know it, if you're in the Salisbury area, or even if you're not, come down and check it out. The general store at the Heart. And this place is all heart. Like, I walked in, greeted by like every single staff member pretty much, with a warm smile, polite manners, and just so inquisitive and interesting and lovely, and just made me feel like I was at home. Like, they make better coffee than I do at home, but I felt like I was at home. It's just so beautiful. The owner said to me, rearrange the seats if you need to, make yourself at home. And I was like, wicked, this is my kind of jam. So do come down and support them. They're doing great work down here. And if you're interested in what V's been talking about, and you think that's the kind of thing you're interested in, do look up Mingle Co, and go check out the events, because they sound amazing.
Thanks for having me.
No, thank you. It's been awesome. All right, cool.